Story 1. I made a bad decision the night I agreed to house sit for my ex-girlfriend's father. His name was Mark, a retired geologist who had moved to a remote hillside property in upstate New York. The house was large, angular, built into the slope like it had grown from the rock itself. No cell reception, no neighbors for miles, just forest and fog and the low, constant hum of wind through the trees. Mark called me out of the blue. I hadn't spoken to him since Claire and I broke up 2 years ago, and I figured he hated me. But he said he remembered I worked from home and needed someone reliable. He was heading to Arizona for spinal surgery and didn't trust strangers in his house. I don't know why I said yes. Maybe guilt. Maybe some buried instinct to impress Claire again through proxy. I convinced myself it would be quiet, even restorative. A few days alone with no distractions. When I arrived, the house was colder than I expected. Emotionally, not just physically. Built mostly from concrete and glass, it reminded me of a bunker disguised as modern architecture. Inside, the living room overlooked the slope, giving you a clear view of the endless pine trees. But there were no curtains anywhere, just glass and the vast, dark outside. The first night passed without incident. I read, ate reheated chili, and went to bed early. It was the second night when things started to unravel. I woke up at 2:12 a.m. My mouth was dry, heart racing, and I was staring directly at the glass wall across from my bed. I didn't see anything out there, but something in me was certain something had been watching me just moments before. I sat up, listening. There was no noise, just the sound of wind pressing faintly against the glass. I tried to calm myself. Then I heard it, a soft thump from the hallway. I froze. It wasn't loud, more like someone trying not to be heard. I grabbed the heavy flashlight from the nightstand and crept toward the source of the sound. The hallway was dim, moonlight filtering in through the glass wall. That's when I saw them. Bare footprints, not mine. Small, pale, wet, like someone had walked in dew-covered grass. They came from the front door, moved down the hallway, and stopped in front of the study, Mark's locked office. The door was shut. I called out, "Hello?" Nothing. The doorknob turned easily. Inside, the study was just as I remembered, full of geologic samples, labeled rocks, topographic maps. I turned on the light and stepped inside. The air was heavy, like it hadn't moved in days. Nothing was disturbed, except the whiteboard. It was clean yesterday, but now a message was written in black marker. Go home. The marker was still on the ledge, uncapped. I backed out, heart pounding, and closed the door. Another sound. This one from above. A dragging noise, like something scraping across concrete. But the house didn't have a second floor. I slept in the locked car that night, parked at the edge of the clearing, with a blanket around me and the flashlight on my lap. I left the engine off. I didn't want the sound to drown out anything I needed to hear. At 3:23 a.m., I saw movement. A shape, human-sized, stood at the edge of the woods, just watching, not approaching. I couldn't see its face, just the outline of shoulders and arms and something glinting in its hand. I blinked. Gone. The next morning, I forced myself back inside to pack. It felt different now. Wrong in a way I couldn't articulate. Like the house wasn't just empty, but hollowed out. Like something had moved in and hollowed me out too. As I grabbed my backpack, I noticed something scratched into the inside of the front door. I hadn't seen it before. "You're still inside." It didn't make sense, not as a threat, more like a statement, like a fact. Against every instinct, I climbed onto the flat roof, using a ladder I found in the garage. I needed proof, something rational. The roof was flat, with solar panels and a utility box. And footprints. Small, bare, wet. They led to the edge. No trail back. I peered over. Just stone, trees, and silence. That night, I stayed in a motel 2 towns away. I told myself it was just stress, a trick of the mind. Maybe some gas leak or mold screwing with my head. Then Mark called. I let it go to voicemail. His voice was strained. "Hey, strange thing. That whiteboard in the study, someone wrote on it again. It says, 'He never left.'" He paused. "Do you know what that means?" I didn't answer, but I've had 3 dreams since then. Same one. I'm walking barefoot through the hallway. I stop at the study door. I open it slowly. Instead of the desk and books, there's only a tall, dark mirror. And in the reflection, I'm not alone. Sometimes when I wake up, my feet are damp. I keep checking my soles for pine needles. Story 2. I was 25 the night I took a shortcut through Granger's junkyard to save 10 minutes. That choice still yanks me from sleep, heart pounding at faint metallic echoes. Laura, my younger sister, rode shotgun in Dad's pickup. The main highway was closed. Our GPS suggested a 40-mile detour. I boasted I knew a back route. Confidence. Bad decision number 1. Rain misted as I swung the gate chain aside. Floodlights left wide swaths, dark. We rolled between rusted husks, high beams bouncing off broken windshields. Halfway across, the engine coughed, then died. I'd siphoned gas earlier that week. Bad decision 2. No cell signal, nearest house miles away. A caretaker's shed supposedly held a landline. We took one flashlight and walked. Smell hit first. Oil, sour upholstery, earth. Puddles mirrored ruined roofs. Somewhere sheet metal knocked. Steady. Laura squeezed my elbow. I joked about raccoons, voice thin. Stacks of crushed cars towered over us like apartment blocks. Fresh graffiti dripped the word leave in red weeping lines. Wind hadn't dried it, Someone was nearby. The path opened to an old school bus shell. Back door gaped. On the step lay a plastic bead from Mom's rosary that had snapped inside the truck earlier. How it traveled here made no sense. Laura climbed in. I followed, beam gliding over cracked seats. Water dripped rhythmically. She pocketed the bead. The bus door clanged shut. We spun toward the front windows. Outside stood a figure in a welding mask, shoulders broad, tool in hand. It tapped the glass once, twice, spidering cracks. I shouted we meant no trouble. The mask tilted. Tap 3 shattered a pane. Rear emergency door was rust welded. Windows refused. We crawled through a windshield corner, slicing our arms, and bolted down another lane. Behind us, the bus door screeched. Footsteps scraped metal. Rain thickened, turning soil to grease. We aimed for the watchtower caretakers used to spot fires. Maybe height would grant reception. Stairs groaned. Halfway up, Laura hissed. Another masked figure stepped from shadows below, identical stance. 2 hunters now, silent and sure. We reached the top platform. No walls, just railing and an ancient antenna. My phone flickered 1 bar, vanished. Floodlights around the yard blinked out in sequence, leaving only the tower lamp. The masks stared upward, tools raised like ritual offerings. Generator coughed, lamp extinguished. Blackness pressed close. I held Laura, whispering lies about police on the way. Steps creaked on the staircase. I fumbled for my lighter, sparked a trembling flame. A mask appeared inches beyond the rail, visor mirror slick. In the reflection, my own frightened face burned orange. A voice behind the glass, muffled yet familiar, murmured, "Bad roads teach good lessons." Flame died. Something struck the platform, boards splintering. I yanked Laura. We leapt into darkness, landing on a mound of crushed aluminum. Pain screamed through my ankle, but adrenaline hauled us forward. Tight gaps slowed anything larger than teenagers. Somehow, we reached the gate, still ajar. A passing milk truck braked hard when we staggered onto the road, bloody and drenched. Deputies searched. They located our stalled pickup and the collapsed watchtower, charred as though lightning struck, though the sky had been clear. No footprints, no masks, no caretaker, no generators, not even fresh graffiti. Case dismissed as hysteria. Laura moved west, hates scrapyards. I sold the truck, ride buses. Yet sometimes, passing industrial lots, my phone loses signal. In the glaze of sodium lamps, I glimpse shiny domes behind stacked steel, always perfectly still until the bus pulls away. Bad decisions are orbiting moons. They swing back no matter how far you travel. One rainy night, they'll catch me again, and the lesson will finish counting. I tried the ignition again, pumping the pedal like Grandpa taught me. The starter whined, hopelessly. We popped the hood. Steam hissed off the block like a warning sigh. My flashlight showed no leaks, just empty space where fuel should have been. Laura's glare burned hotter than the engine. She accused me of stealing gas for weekend beers. I admitted it because lying would waste time we suddenly couldn't afford. While we argued, every sound in the yard slowed, as though rain fell through syrup, as though the night itself held its breath. When Laura slammed the hood, the bang echoed too long, ricocheted off distant metal shapes I couldn't see. A dog barked once, then yelped into silence. We exchanged a look neither of us wanted to name. Our path snaked past a stack of flattened sedans. Someone had arranged lawn chairs atop the pile, facing the highway like grotesque bleachers. Empty beer bottles lined the armrests, labels peeled. One bottle rocked in the breeze, yet never toppled, as if held by unseen fingertips. Laura whispered we should kill the flashlight and move by memory. I told her darkness belonged to whoever set up the chairs. Light, at least, belonged to us. Inside the bus, an odor of old pennies and ammonia coated my tongue before I realized the shell had no roof to trap smells. The welding mask figure must have already been near, exhaling whatever dream of violence kept it breathing. During the frantic chase, I lost a sneaker hopping over a fender. Even as terror pounded, I mourned that shoe. Dad had bought the pair before his stroke. Up in the tower, after the phones failed, I tried the CB radio bolted to the railing. Static poured through. Then a faint voice counting backward from 50, each number dragging like a shovel over gravel. At 33, the voice stuttered, broke into wet coughing, and went silent. I yanked the power cord and hurled the unit over the rail. It vanished without a sound, swallowed by junk below. Even a decade later, I replay each choice, counting them like beads on the shattered rosary, waiting to see if regret itself can summon footsteps behind me. Story 3. I shouldn't have rented the cabin. That's what I keep telling myself, even years later. But at the time, it felt like the right kind of escape. I'd just gone through a brutal divorce. I was behind on deadlines, spiraling with insomnia, and desperate to get off the grid. So when I found a secluded lakeside cabin online, no reviews, just a single photo and a too-good-to-be-true rate, I clicked book now without hesitation. Bad decision number 1. The drive up took 4 hours through dense forest. No signs, no cell signal, just winding dirt roads and endless trees. When I finally arrived, the sun was already dipping behind the hills, bleeding orange light across the surface of the lake. The cabin looked odd. The structure itself wasn't crooked, but something about the proportions felt off, like it had been assembled from leftover pieces of other cabins. Windows at weird heights, a chimney that didn't connect to anything inside. The porch slanted slightly to the right, and every nail in the railing looked like it had been pulled out and rehammered again and again. Still, the keys worked. The lights flicked on. There was a bed, a stove, a shower. I convinced myself it was fine. That night, I couldn't sleep. The place had a hum to it, not electrical, more like the low throb of something breathing very slowly through the walls. Every hour, the floorboards creaked in long, sweeping arcs, like someone walking in circles. I got up twice to check, but saw nothing outside. No animals, no people, just thick black trees pressed tight against the property. Sometime around 3 a.m., I heard a soft splash. The lake. I opened the window and listened. Another splash. Closer. Then, a voice. Soft. Barely louder than the breeze. Come in. I slammed the window shut and stayed awake till sunrise, clutching the flashlight like it was a weapon. Bad decision number 2. I stayed. The next day, I found footprints on the dock. Small, bare. They weren't mine. They went straight to the edge of the lake and then stopped, like someone had walked into the water and never come back. That night, I didn't sleep at all. The wall shifted more noticeably. I'd walk into a room and find a window in a different place. The kitchen door changed from white to pale green without explanation. The bathroom mirror, which I swore was plain the day before, now had hairline cracks, subtle at first, but spidering wider each time I looked. At 2:37 a.m., the front door opened. No knock, no wind, just the slow squeal of rusted hinges. I stood at the top of the stairs, barely breathing, and something walked inside. I didn't see it. I felt it. Not footsteps exactly, but a shift in weight, like the house adjusted to welcome it. The air grew colder, dense with damp earth and mildew. I wanted to leave. I should have left, but something in my head whispered, "Stay until it finishes." What it was, I didn't know, but the voice sounded like my own. I locked myself in the bedroom, barricaded the door with a dresser. Around 4 a.m., I heard someone crying in the kitchen. A woman. Guttural sobs, almost animal. Then silence. Then a single knock. Not at the bedroom door. From inside the closet. I packed up at sunrise. Didn't even shower. Just threw everything into the car and hit the gas. I didn't care about the rental agreement. I didn't care about the deposit. I just wanted out. But the road was longer than I remembered. I drove for an hour. Then another. No intersections. No signs. The forest got denser, more twisted. Branches looked like fingers. Every mile, my GPS blinked red and reset to 0, as if I hadn't moved at all. At noon, I passed the lake again. The same angle. The same broken dock. The same footprints. I stopped the car and got out, shaking. Had I circled back? Was I hallucinating? Then I saw something that made me fall to my knees. There, in the middle of the dock, was a figure. Me. Same clothes. Same stance. Just staring out across the water. I screamed. The figure didn't move. I got back in the car, locked the doors, and screamed until my voice cracked. I passed out at some point. When I woke up, it was night again. I was back in the cabin driveway, but it was different now. The house was larger, wider, as if it had been growing. Every window was now dark, yet I could feel things watching, like the glass was pulsing, breathing, waiting. I didn't go inside. I stayed in the car till morning, then walked. I followed the sun until the trees thinned, until my phone buzzed back to life. It's been 4 years. I've never found the listing again. No trace of the rental website, no record of payment. But every now and then, I see a photo online. A cabin, a lake, a reflection that doesn't match the foreground. And once, just once, I got an email from an address I didn't recognize. No subject, no message, just one attachment, an image of the cabin, taken from inside the bedroom, looking out. And in the reflection of the cracked mirror, I was still there, waiting. I haven't slept well since.